The coolest intro ever.
A person with an addiction uses a substance, or engages in a behavior, for which the rewarding effects provide a compelling incentive to repeat the activity, despite detrimental consequences. Addiction may involve the use of substances such as alcohol, inhalants, opioids, cocaine, marijuana, and nicotine, or behaviors such as gambling. There is evidence that addictive behaviors share key neurobiological features. They intensely involve brain pathways of reward and reinforcement, which involve the neurotransmitter dopamine. And, in keeping with other highly motivated states, they lead to the pruning of synapses in the prefrontal cortex, home of the brain's highest functions, so that attention is highly focused on cues related to the target substance or activity. It is important to know that such brain changes are reversible after the substance use or behavior is discontinued. Both substance use disorders and gambling behaviors have an increased likelihood of being accompanied by mental health conditions such as depression and anxiety, or other pre-existing problems. Substance use and gambling disorders not only engage the same brain mechanisms, they respond to many of the same treatment approaches. Here is a list of common types of addiction. Alcoholism, dopamine addiction, harm reduction, porn addiction, sensation seeking, sex addiction, smoking, video game addiction. But in this video I do not want to talk about any of these addictions. What I want to talk about is the addiction economy. Economist Herbert Simon is credited with coining the concept of the attention economy as early as the 1970s. It's the idea that people's attention is a resource just like time or money, and companies will market their products to compete for that resource. This concept is somewhat outdated, and we need to see the world through a different prism, the addiction economy. These new economy juggernauts, like Facebook and Google, aren't merely in the business of selling ads to interested people based on compelling content they offer. They use content generated by others, layer that with engaging algorithms, and make their business about getting as much user time as they possibly can. 50 minutes. That's the average amount of time, the company said back in 2016, that users spend each day on its Facebook, Instagram and Messenger platforms, and that's not counting the popular messaging app WhatsApp. Maybe that doesn't sound like so much. But there are only 24 hours in a day, and the average person sleeps for 8.8 of them. That means more than 1/16 of the average user's waking time is spent on Facebook. And that's just Facebook alone and what they decided to announce publicly. The real number might be far more than that. That is the addiction that I wanted to talk about. I like to call it the hidden addiction, or maybe the real dangerous addiction, because for example a person who is addicted to, let's say, alcohol has the symptoms showing themselves obviously, and they often face blame from other people in the society, and sometimes they get blamed for things they have not done or get blamed for other people's wrongdoings and problems simply because of their history. But a person who is addicted to, let's say, Instagram selfies not only does not get blamed but gets rewarded and guided to do it more and more every day, because the economy that is based on people's addiction is getting hungrier and hungrier every day, and it just wants more. What is a food chain? A food chain is a linear network of links in a food web starting from producer organisms and ending at apex predator species, detritivores, or decomposer species. A food chain also shows how the organisms are related with each other by the food they eat. Each level of a food chain represents a different trophic level. Truth is you and I are its food. I'm sure have heard the famous saying that says if it is free you are the product. It is consuming us. It reminds me of a poem from Rumi, the Persian poet some 600 or 700 years ago, who said, "There are thousands of traps and seeds around, O God. And we are like desperate and greedy birds. Every moment we are facing a new trap. Takes a phoenix to be freed from it all." That was it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and something that was said or shown in this video has got you thinking in a good way. Thanks for watching, and since I do not know what time it is when you are watching this video, I will just say good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning and all the rest of the good stuff.